If I could start with Donna Sims Wilson, who is president of Smith Graham and Company Investment Advisors. My question for you, Donna, is as a mentor to women and investment leaders participating in and benefiting from the emerging investment manager programs in the U.S., how could this initiative assist development and empower female investment managers in Africa? And what would your wise advice be to regulators to support such an empowerment framework for up-and-coming female finance managers? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Barbara, and thank you to African Investor for asking me to be here to speak to you all today. As she said, my name is Donna Sims Wilson, and I'm president of Smith Graham. We are a $6 billion African-American-owned investment management firm headquartered in Houston with a big office here in New York. And I have been on Wall Street for over 30 years now, starting, of course, when I has to be now about 8 years old. That's the only way that the math works at this point. My firm and other firms that have been owned by minorities and women have benefited for something here in the United States called emerging manager programs. So there are public pension plans, there are corporate pension plans, there are union pension plans that all have these programs that basically have a separate category for minorities and women by asset class to manage the assets of those plans. So let's say, for example, the New York State Common Retirement Fund, which is a $160 billion plan, they have over $10 billion now being managed by firms that are owned by minorities and women, and they went about that very intentionally. So to just back up for a second and talk about the evolution of these plans, in the public plan space, if you just look at the demographics of who work for governments, you know, the teachers, the policemen, the firemen, government workers in general, the demographics tend to be minorities and women. And so as a result of that, minority and women members, employee members of these pension plans ascended to the pension boards and then ascended even to positions of power on the pension boards and said, we want people who look like us, women and minorities, to manage our assets. And for those of you who are brokers in the room, to trade the securities that go along with the management of our assets. And so that's how emerging manager programs grew. Now they are, you know, at least 80 public plans from the New York State Common Retirement Fund, New York City plans, in Connecticut, New Jersey, Illinois, North Carolina, Texas, California, Los Angeles City, Los Angeles County. All of these pension plans now have emerging manager programs where women and minorities manage billions and billions of assets. Now, these programs, let me be clear, were fueled by results. All of these assets are managed to an index, and either you perform well versus that index or you don't. And there have been many studies written to show that smaller firms and firms owned by minorities and women actually perform better in certain asset classes than their larger counterparts. And this is not a knock at all on some of the larger firms that I'm sure are here in the audience, but it's just a point of fact. And so these programs have grown as a result of the good performance of these plans. And so my advice, to sum up very quickly, my advice is that there are the allocators of assets in Africa, the pension funds in Africa, the sovereign wealth funds in Africa, the Social Security funds in Africa should specifically seek out women-owned investment managers. They should require that the consultants that they work with have databases of women-owned investment managers. And those managers should be solicited to apply to manage the assets. They should also have events where the allocators of capital and women-owned managers can meet and have something that we call here in the United States speed dating. there are many kind of emerging manager conferences that happen where the staff people who are responsible for allocating capital get to meet minority and women-owned managers, and as a result, they get to know them, because I think it's a universal fact that people do business with people that they know and like. And so it's very important that the allocators of capital know women managers.
Donna, I thank you. There's two headlines, I think, in the comments that you've made that resonate. One is performance indexes, and I wonder if that wouldn't be part of your suggestion, that to show that there's a tangible benchmark, and so that there's the fiduciary process of ensuring. As well, the ability to be able to have a database so you actually know who's out there. And we know we have a general, in the last session, we talked about the lack of capacity building. Part of that is also not knowing who's out there, not just risk mitigation instruments, but also the experts to be able to help you.
Doing business in Africa. You can't afford to be without Africa Investor.